What's up, Foolproof Isbo friends? How you doing, everybody? Happy Friday. It's so cool to be here with you today. It is noon, Friday, March 6th, and I'm super excited to have my friend Christopher Sturgis here with me. And I met Chris, probably a couple months ago, and I found him because he's one of the foremost experts I found that can kind of demystify what credit means. What does credit repair look like? Is there even such a thing? And a lot of one of the more, I should say, intriguing things that he likes to talk about is that credit itself, in general, is kind of a scam when it comes down to it. And they think that improving it can be done overnight if you just pay the right agency. And he's got a great Instagram where he'll literally just blow these people up who try to scam people out, these scam credit repair companies. So Chris, thank you for being here, sir. I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us.
Absolutely, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here. I've actually been waiting to do a live stream and talking about all the good stuff, man, and also exposing more of the bad stuff that's out there. So, yeah, it is definitely a great opportunity. Thank you so much for having me on this live stream today.
Yeah, super excited you're here. I know that this is going to be something that resonates with a great deal of the audience because a lot of people are, obviously credit's a concern. And
Yeah.
those of us, who have seen the other side of it, seen the underwriting and how this all works. Yeah, dude, it's messed up.
Yeah.
There's, who in their right mind ever thought that paying off a loan could actually harm your credit score? And yet, you know,
Absolutely.
there it
Yeah.
is. So I would love it if you could kind of tell people, kind of give them a level set about who you are, what you do, why you do it, I'd love to start asking you some questions that have been sent in to me.
Absolutely, Tim. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to do this. And I love sharing this story, Tim, because a lot of people clearly I own a credit repair service called Sturgis Credit Repair. And a lot of my clients or some of the consumers that call in or they sign up, they don't look at me as a normal human. They don't look at me as a consumer myself. They just look at me as a business owner, someone who's out to charge a fee for a service, and they don't understand my story behind why I decided to get into the credit industry. So let's go way back. Back when I was working at local car dealerships in sales and finance, Tim, it's gotten to a point to where I was going to work 12 hours a day and not being paid due to people not having good credit. And
Mm,
what job on earth besides the real estate industry can you go to work 12 hours a day and you're not guaranteed a paycheck, right? I do
yep.
everything that I'm supposed to do. I go to work early, I go to work on my days off, and I stay at work after hours. And if some of these people don't have the credit score to get approved for financing, we didn't have many cash buyers. So if they didn't get approved for financing, guess who don't get paid? Chris.
Mm,
So it
yep.
gotten to the point where I didn't know credit repair was an industry. I didn't care much about credit at all because I never had bad credit. So it was just one of those things I never took seriously or I even cared about because it never affected me. So I looked into ways where I can start helping some of these people come back to the car dealership. And man, Tim, at the time, I was like, man, if I can bring back two or three people per month and they can buy a car from me, man, I'll be balling. I'll be doing good. I can increase my sales. And that was just looking at it from the smaller picture. And eventually I'm like, wow, credit repair is a whole industry. I didn't know this was a actual thing. So it got to the point where I actually wanted to form a business. I just didn't want to be this guy on Instagram stating I fix credit, send me a DM, or these people that go out and put these yard signs out and just have it say I fix credit with the phone number or something like that. I want it to be a established business. I know credit is already looked at or frowned upon, but I didn't want to be one of those guys. I want to be a actual business that people can trust. I want people to know that I'm still a consumer, just like they are, and I understand what they're going through. So I practice all of these disputing methods with family members, friends, some of my close customers at the car dealership, and I learned all of these things. I didn't know that there are so many errors on credit reports. I didn't know you have the right to challenge items, even if it's yours. Let's just say if it's negative, if they can't verify that crap, the credit bureaus delete it. I see it happen every single day. So again, I never knew about this because I had no reason to look into this stuff. And man, once I formed the business, many years ago, it went from 0 clients to over 100 clients every single month within maybe 5 weeks. The business just
Wow.
exploded and blew up. And sadly, eventually I had to shake hands with my boss, have that conversation. Respectfully, we separated ways, and Sturgis Credit Repair has been growing ever since. And man, ever since then, I've also came out with a book. It pays to have good credit, because the way I started my business was by having good credit, and it paid to have good credit by using a credit card. I used that to fund my business. I didn't have a big bank account or a big savings account at the time. I was freaking broke because I couldn't sell a car to these people that couldn't get approved. So I think at the time I had like a $20,000 credit card. It was a Wells Fargo Active Cash, I believe, at the time. And honestly, Tim, I just expected that to be like the first major thing on my credit. I just knew it was going to eventually get charged off and I would never be able to pay this back. I am going to run this car to the ground because I don't know what I'm doing. I never owned a business before. No one in my family owned a business. I'm just scared and don't know what to do. So, long story short, the return on that paid off for itself plus more within 4 to 5 months. And that's been my slogan ever since. It pays to have good credit. I have the podcast platform also named after It Pays to Have Good Credit, where I teach a lot of people credit education for free. I don't have to do any of this, but I do it from the bottom of my heart. I understand people don't understand much about credit. I know they don't understand how credit card usage can affect their credit scores, how DTI can affect their loan approvals. So many topics I have on the platform, and it's completely free. And 99% of that stuff, Tim, you would never learn in school. So that's a quick but long summary of my background there.
Well, God bless you. I mean, I'm so impressed, and I didn't know that you just, you know, I can't tell you how many business I've started that I've never even got off the starting blocks, and then
Yeah.
others that I've gotten, into second, third grade, and then they flunk out of school, and then other businesses ideas are still going today, and they're doing great. But I've failed so many times, and for this to be your first at bat and to have
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park like that,
Yeah.
holy crap, man! Kudos. And
Absolutely.
so, did I hear you correctly in the beginning? And are you, when you were trying to sell people cars and they were coming in, they didn't have good credit? Were you actually able to help these people repair their credit so they could buy a car from you? Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, yeah. At least at the time, I was still in my early
That's
stages.
insane.
Yeah, I've had at least 4 or 5 customers that came in. They had 500 credit scores just due to like petty collections and simple stuff on their credit. I never really had someone with serious things like bankruptcies and stuff like that. Majority of those people know better than to come into a car dealership. Well, most of them, but majority of them knew if they had just some minor stuff in their credit, they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna just give it a chance." And there were so many customers, Tim. Some people had collection accounts. Some people had older charge-offs. Some of the items got deleted just because they couldn't verify. The other half of the items got deleted because they had obvious errors reporting to them. And, people can do this themselves, but there's a lot of people who's just like me that much rather just pay for a service if they don't have the time to do it. And that's where Sturgis Credit Repair came in at the time. So yeah, I've helped a lot of people come back into the car dealership. Some still had issues, but majority of them were able to buy a car from me, and that right there built a referral list that
Yes.
helped out a lot before Sturgis Credit Repair was a actual real registered business. So yeah,
Dude,
it
I
definitely
I
helped out.
cannot believe what
Yeah.
I'm hearing. I mean, so this is it's incredible because it's not that what you did, like, okay, fixing people's credit scores,
Hmm.
that can be done clearly, that right,
Yeah.
there's ways to do it. What's just mind-blowingly impressive here to me is that you're just an employee, you have no ownership in that business.
Nope.
You had people coming in saying that they couldn't transact with you because they just couldn't afford it. They didn't have the underwriting. They didn't have the, and so what I would say, I might as well just say, statistically speaking, 100% of the people in your situation would say, sucks to be you. Oh
Hmm.
my God, this job sucks. I'm going to quit. I'm going to find another job because nobody could afford to buy cars.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me that GM of that dealership didn't pay you whatever you were asking for the amount of initiative that it takes. Like I wouldn't have had that, dude. If somebody wanted to buy a home for me
Yeah.
and they couldn't get pre-approved, do you know how many times I went home and thought, how do I fix these guys' credit? Zero, never,
Yeah.
none. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that is incredible. Like I'm just saying, like, no wonder your first business succeeded. I mean, dude, I don't know of anybody in any space ever that, but it's so smart and it makes so much sense when you get them. So like, what happened? Like after the 7th, 8th, 9th month where you're not making any money, did you just finally say like, okay, all of these people are coming at me with the same issue.
Yep.
What can I do to fix it? Like, is that legitimately how it all started?
Yeah. Well, Tim,
Golly.
just from me watching YouTube, and there's so many free mentorship people or mentor people that's all over YouTube and social media. I follow a lot of these guys. The one thing that I find in common, Tim, majority of successful people, they say you will never get rich or you'll never be successful unless you solve issues. When I worked at the car dealership, I had an issue to where I physically did every single thing possible that I can do as a W-2 employee. I go to work on time. I go to work on my off days. I had bills to pay. I stayed after hours. If there were people, if the dealership closed at 7 p.m. on a Saturday, I was staying till 8 o'clock. If a walk-in just randomly walked in at 6:50 p.m., I would test drive. I would go show them different vehicles. I would ask them what their price range is. I would negotiate. I would say, hey, what do I have to do to close this deal? That takes an hour. You've been to a car dealership before, especially if you're just looking at different trim levels or different vehicles or different price ranges. It takes time. It's not a 30-minute process. So I'm spending hours with people. And then after all of this, fighting over numbers and everything, they sign that credit out. Boom, Chris, you did all of that for nothing. And I'm like, bro, I can't do this forever. So, man, there were many times that my paychecks were just not showing my work ethic. And I just thought that was unfair. And, I sat down with my wife and I said, hey, I think we have a problem. Maybe I need to find a new job. Maybe I need to give up on the commission pay industry and find something more guaranteed. Growing up in Louisiana, all of my friends worked in chemical plants and things like that. I'm like, look, maybe I should just join the wagon and just get in line with these guys and just, make a guaranteed $80,000, $100,000 a year, just work in a chemical plant. That's probably not good for my health, but I don't know how much longer I can work 12-hour shifts and not be paid the amount of time that I'm there. We got a guaranteed draw payment. It's what they call it in the car industry, to where if you don't sell anything, you're guaranteed probably $2,500, $3,000 a month or something like that, which after taxes, Tim, if you have bills and a mortgage and things like that, that paycheck was gone,
Not
So
much. Yeah.
my wife and I, we sat down and she said, hey, well, what's the reason that you're not selling cars? Are you just taking extended lunch breaks and you're just screwing around? Are you
Of course she
scared
did.
to-
Of
yeah,
course she said.
yeah. Are you scared to talk to people when they come in? Are you calling the leads? Are you following up with the people who came yesterday? I'm like, yes. I like, sales has nothing to do with it. It's just that these people, when they get to the finance room or they fill out the application in front of me, they cannot get approved. I cannot sell a car if the bank do not approve them. So she's like, well, maybe you should look into ways that maybe you can partner with some of the people that work at these auto lenders, and maybe you can call them and negotiate with them. And that's how we were thinking at the time. We never thought about helping them with their credit. We were just like, man, we need to find out who work at these auto lenders, Capital One Auto. We need to see who works at Santander, who works at Ally Finance and things like that. And that was our mindset back then. And then eventually, clearly that didn't work. But eventually I'm like, okay, the next thing is helping these people with their credit. So usually, and you should know this too, if you work with people who don't get approved, me in sales, if somebody filled out the app and the finance guy called me in his office and said, hey, Chris, we don't have a deal, their credit is crap, Usually we would just kick them out. Hey, look, you can't get approved. We'll call you tomorrow, let you know,
Yeah.
or something like that. We just kick them out. Kind of the same thing if you go to a furniture store or a store that offer these store credit cards. Like a lot of women go to
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret, they apply for the card at the register. If you don't get approved, it will say, or the cashier or whoever will tell you, hey, we got your application. We're gonna mail you a letter in the mail, and we will let you know the results. That means you're not approved. If you got
Right.
approved,
They're
they're
going to
giving
call
you
back.
that on
Give
the
me your
spot.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So same thing in the car business. There were many times to where somebody didn't get approved. We had to tell them, hey, uh, lenders are just taking a while. You can leave. We're going to call you tomorrow, or just flat out say, hey, this isn't going to work. Most of the time, and we've been taught to do this, if they don't get approved, some people would sit there, Tim, for an extra 20 minutes and cry about why they're not approved, ask 10,000 questions. They would sit here with a 450 credit score and they would say, okay, well, come show me these other cars because I may have a
Ugh.
co-buyer whose credit score is a 500. And in our head, we're like, look, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And we would waste an extra 30, 40 minutes with someone who already did not get approved. So those were reasons why we told people, hey, we're working on it. We're going to give you a
Yeah.
call back tomorrow. Because if you
Yeah.
tell them they're not approved, they will sit there and waste your time
They'll
forever.
try to argue with you.
Yeah.
Like you're the one that told them no.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, man, it's a crazy situation, but it has definitely paid off over the last several years for sure.
God, that's amazing. I guess I'm just really impressed that's the direction you took this.
Hmm.
I can't think of any other business where.
Yeah.
Okay, how many of your coworkers did this?
None,
Zero, right?
just me. Yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
We have friends in our family who own car dealerships, and I've never ever heard. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm ignorant to the industry. I've
Mhm.
never heard of anybody doing this. I mean, it is such a. Again, I still say the GM at that dealership screwed up big when he let you go because I would have paid you whatever you're worth just to keep you around.
Well, the crazy thing, Tim, and again, I don't fault people, and I'm gonna go over two situations here quickly. I don't fault people for being suspicious or being worried about credit repair because when I first started making the dealership money by doing this, the very first week, I think I posted something on my Facebook, and we all had each other on Facebook and stuff like
Yep.
that. Me, the general manager, the sales manager. So I made a post and I was like, oh, I helped this customer. She came to me 4 months ago, or maybe 3 months ago, something like that. And her scores were in the 500s. We now have her, or I now have her at a 680, 690. And she came back and bought a car for me. This made the dealership money. I got paid. You know, I went through the worst time of my life by not being paid for weeks and weeks and months and months. And I think I finally have something going on. So the car sales managers and the GM, they didn't like the post. They didn't comment on my post. But the very next day at work, I get called into the general manager's office and they're like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, what you mean? This post, you posted this last night. We didn't approve this. And I'm like, approve what? And he's like, explain what you're doing because we have to have you sign a form because you're using our customers as your personal gain. And I'm like, do what? Like I just made the dealership money. So they
Yeah.
were looking at it as maybe I was taking people's social security numbers that had good credit and giving it, which that wouldn't work, but giving it to the people that I guess have bad credit. I guess they were just skeptical of what I was doing. And then once they figured out like everything that I'm doing is realistic, that people can do this themselves, they were like, okay, what you're doing is legit. You know, that's cool. You want to start your business doing that. But think about it this way, Chris. We spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every single month in marketing and bringing in leads. You can't take our customers, sign them up for your service, get
You got to be
paid,
shitting me.
yeah, in hopes to have them come back to a car dealership. You can fix their credit, you got paid, and then that customer can go to another dealership. And I'm like, okay, from a business standpoint, I can agree with that. I can understand that, but I am following up with these people and they're working with me directly. I'm their
And they're
car
buying
salesman.
cars from you.
Yeah. But that was a huge thing. And luckily, Tim, at the time, I may have had 50 or 60 clients enrolled in the service. So, I mean, I was already making more money doing that on the side than my actual car sales career.
What a
And
moron. I'm
when
sorry,
they
dude.
when they when they said that, Tim, I was like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work out. Like, they're just looking at me as, someone that's stealing their leads that they pay
They've got a
for,
guy, they've got a
Yeah.
guy on staff who's taking initiative that
Yeah.
no other car sales guy in the history of that dealership, or I dare say most 99.9% of the others, on their team, helping them monetize those leads that would have otherwise been dead
Yeah.
in their chastising you for it. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Case in point, this
Yeah.
is how you should not behave. If you own a business, that is a absolute subject, a case study in idiocy. I'm really, really blown away. This whole time I figured that the GM was like, man,
Mm-mm.
cheering you on and saying, thanks, dude, this is incredible.
No. He was just skeptical. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna have you sign this form stating that you can no longer market your business to our customers." And I'm like, "Okay, I mean, sure, if you want me to." And we were real cool. I'm like, "Hey, if you don't want me doing that, I don't have to sign a paper." Like, I mean, man, we're
Yeah, just won't
boys,
do it.
But
Yeah.
no, it was not like that. It is a corporate dealership, and it was a General Motors dealership, and I get that, but it was like, man, I mean, I just did not understand that from a business standpoint. I'm gonna give you one more crazy scenario here. As you know, I just moved out to the Phoenix area a
Yep.
few months ago from Louisiana. So back home in Louisiana, I had to partner with a lot of affiliates, realtors, car sales specialists, loan officers, because 80% of the leads today that come through Sturgis Credit Repair are actual referrals from realtors, loan officers, people in car sales. The other 20% come from like social media ads and just organic stuff and stuff like that. But when I moved to Phoenix, I'm like, man, I don't know any people out here that can potentially be a affiliate for Sturgis Credit Repair, which my business is nationwide. You don't have to be here in Arizona to sign up on the website. But I'm like, man, it would be nice to have someone I can refer clients to, or have somebody that I can, you know, pick on to ask questions about the mortgage industry out here in Phoenix. So clearly, I started marketing to Arizona a few months back, and a lot of my ads started popping up here in Arizona locally. And I've had maybe 15 people that signed up in the Phoenix area, or actually in Phoenix, in the heart of Phoenix, and they're actually home shopping right now. Their credit has improved maybe 60, 80 points since they've been enrolled for the last 3 or 4 months. And they are currently looking for a realtor and loan officer to begin the home buying process. In fact, some of these people have been so excited the second their scores jumped up 20 points, they're like, "Hey, can I get approved now? Can I get approved now?" So I'm like, "Hey, look, you need to pump the brakes a little bit. Not yet. Let's finish." So that's how excited some of these people are, and they do not have a realtor to work with or a loan officer. So I've had my partner who she works on all the emails for me. Michaela, she reaches out to all the realtors locally, all the loan officers here locally, and her job is to strictly reach out to affiliates. In fact, I just did an episode with a local realtor, Jamie Owen, that just dropped earlier this week, just asking home buying questions and things like that. It's a great episode for those who are listening or watching. Go check it out on the It Pays to Have Good Credit podcast. But man, out of 5 or 6 different realtors that we have emailed back to back to back, like, "Hey, we need you to do this. We need a partner with you." Only Jamie responded, and she did the podcast. But secondly, she is now going to be our local realtor for the Phoenix, Arizona area that we are going to start referring all of these clients to. So the same feeling that you have, Tim, with the GM at the car dealership, it's the same feeling that I have with these other 5 or 6 realtors that we have reached out to, just requesting a partner, like no money involved. It's just, "Hey, if we have clients, do you mind if we send them to you?" Vice versa. If you have clients, let's start up a referral program here. It's no money involved. In fact, we even pay $50 for every referral that you send this way. And it's just mind blowing how many realtors responded stop, or they just responded no thanks, or some just left us unread. And I'm like, man, this is, I mean, the way this economy is, you should be trying to work to either make more sales or, find more clients as soon as possible. So we're also in the market to reach out to a lot of loan officers. We haven't found one yet locally, but it's just mind blowing how many people just, I guess, don't want to bring consumers back to them once they have been denied. We reached out to one loan officer here locally specifically. I called him myself and say, hey, I noticed a lot of your episodes online. I like what you do. I actually have a podcast platform. Maybe we can go over this. And I just called the guy because he seemed like a nice guy, just like me and you. And he just responded that, yeah, I don't want to do anything like that. I don't want to be on any other platforms. I just host my own episodes, and I don't want to partner with anyone with credit. If they get denied, it's up to them, and they want to work on their credit or not. And I'm like, man, you're really making a mistake here. So it's
So
mind
straightforward.
blowing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's that. It's so smart that you're partnering with people in those verticals because, I mean, you're basically you're forcing people to do the right thing, which
Yeah.
is what you did, which is,
Yep.
hey, if my customers can't help themselves, I'm going to take the initiative. I'm going to help them and still get them in this car, or now let's get them in this house. And I think
Hmm.
that's laudable, and it's very rare. And I think, you know, to the defense of a lot of the other folks out there who might have left you unread, it almost does sound too good to be true. Like it
Yeah.
sounds like, these people are approached with scam after scam
Oh
every single
yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you like to talk about. I mean, I've heard you
Hmm.
say that credit in general is a
Yeah.
scam.
Yeah.
Let's walk through that. What do you mean by that?
Well, Tim, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that goes on in the whole way that credit scores are established. In fact, I literally just made a post on this maybe 3 months ago. So look at it this way: they tell us in order to build credit, we need to first apply for accounts so they can report to our credit, right? If we don't have accounts reporting to our credit, you don't have a credit score.
Right.
So, in order to get a account, you must apply for it. What happens when you apply for an account? A new hard inquiry. What does a hard inquiry do? It
It's a
drops your
ding,
credit
man.
score.
Yeah.
So, why are we being dinged for doing something that we have to do? Right? So I don't agree with that. I think
Yeah.
hard inquiries should be a notification for consumers, letting them know that someone accessed their credit reports. But
Yep.
to ding a consumer because they apply for the account that they need reporting, I just think that's backwards, right? And if you have too many dings or hard inquiries, well, lenders can look at you as a risk. So I just think that is just stupid that you have to add a hard inquiry to apply for an account that you need to build credit, yet you're hurting credit whenever you apply for it. So, I
Right.
mean, I just think that's the dumbest thing ever. I don't agree with credit card usage being something that also damage your credit scores, because we get the credit cards, and yeah, if you don't pay your cars off in full, you get charged interest, but leave it at that. I don't think the actual balance on your card should be a major factor to your credit score. Yet I see this every day to where someone credit cards are maxed out, it drops their scores 80 points or over 100 points. So
Yep.
I don't agree with that. And then lastly, Tim, I don't agree with people paying off loans or people paying off all of their accounts and then their credit score drops after that. Or
That's the
maybe,
biggest mind blower right
yeah,
there.
or maybe eventually their credit score becomes a zero all back over again. So
Yeah.
I just, there's a lot of things, Tim, to where I don't agree with how credit scores are established and how they affect you.
Well, and it's not like an overnight thing either that you can fix it.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
not at all.
So, let's talk about that because I think this has kind of been a black box to me where I didn't really understand what was happening behind the scenes, and when you learn like how many counterintuitive things take place, perfect examples like you just mentioned, things that make my credit go up actually in my mind would make me a bigger credit risk, but
Right.
things that make my credit score go down, I mean, like if I have less outstanding loans out there, then
Yeah.
I would seem like a pretty doggone good gamble because it shows that I paid off all my loans
Yeah.
and now I got extra money coming in every month where I can say, but yet somehow to these geniuses who manage FICO, let's talk about that. Can you give us some behind the curtain stuff on how this works?
Well, before we do that, this is also something else. I just forgot what I was about to bring up. Okay, new accounts. That's what it was. So recently, clearly, we just moved to the Phoenix area. We applied for the mortgage, got the ding on our credit, but yet now the account is going to start reporting to our credit, which it has. Guess what? When a new account hits your credit, that also drops your credit score because it shortens your average age of credit history. So none of this stuff really makes sense, Tim.
Wow.
However, it's almost like I kind of agree with the people that says it's not called the credit score, it's called a debt score because once you pay off all your debts, then you no longer have that score. I can agree with that, but there's just so many things to where I just think this whole score model was just built more like not really helping consumers, more than just keeping the people in the fake American dream. Right? It's just one of those things that don't make sense, which we can probably shouldn't go off topic here, but there's a lot of things in the medical industry that I don't agree with. All the medicines and the chemicals that people put into their bodies that can usually proceed to something else health related down the line, and then doctors get paid from that. So a lot of
Yep.
things when it comes to finances and banks and the people that built the FICO system, which kind of goes over your question here. I feel like a lot of this stuff, Tim, was designed for a purpose. Now, I can argue that the purpose of this is to make people feel like they're helping their credit, but every single thing that they think they're doing good is actually going to drop their credit based on how the FICO system was designed to do. And then when they go and apply for new accounts, legally, they can charge more interest because their scores are lower than whatever their minimum requirement is. So a lot of people, they may have a 750 credit score today and they may go off and pay off their accounts just thinking that's the right thing to do. Like, who would not pay off accounts and save so many thousands in interest, right? So you would go to do that, but then you pay it off and now you lose credit history or you lose the amount of open credit history that you have. And now you go from a 750 to a 650. And guess what? When you go and apply for something legally based on your score, although you did nothing wrong financially, they can legally charge you more interest because your score is lower than whatever their minimum is for their best rates and things like that. So, many people may not agree with that, but I just think deep down, Tim, there's a bigger picture to whoever's at FICO designing this. I think there's a bigger picture than what we both can see here, just looking at it from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I think um, I think bankers are evil. I think
Yeah.
FICO was designed by the bankers. I think
Hmm.
the last thing they want is you to have financial independence. They want you. That's why these morons came out with a 50-year mortgage idea. Are you freaking
Yeah.
kidding me? A
Yeah.
50-year debt slave, and
Yep.
then you're going to tell me that you're doing this to help us? No, I'm with you 100%, dude. There's the same. It's designed by the same people who give immunity to the glyphosate producers, who gives immunity to the BS COVID injection
Yeah.
immunizations. It's the same people who tell you that you have to get it, but they leave themselves out of that requirement. It's Congress. I mean, it's we're the deep state, Congress, whatever you want to talk about. I mean, dude, I'll go all the way down
Yeah.
that rabbit
Yeah.
hole with you because it is 100% not like there are people. I remember growing up, I had this beautiful friend of the family, and
Yep.
she truly, in her heart, and she believed that the president, the government was really truly looking out for her best interest, and it was amazing to me because even from a young age, I was like, that's very sweet. People tend to paint the outside of their reality with what they feel internally. She was a very sweet, kind, generous, giving person. She followed Jesus. She was very just put everybody else before her, just like Jesus would have.
Yeah.
And so therefore she felt like, well, gosh, well, if I feel that way, then that's probably how the rest of the world feels about me. But it's
Right.
not. And it's that line of thinking that allows these people who are now in charge of us to pull. Dude, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. Congress has paid millions, maybe dozens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars out in hush money to people that our congressmen have sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, whatever.
Yep.
And so Thomas Massey, and I forget who else, brings up a vote to say, hey, we're gonna expose this.
Yeah.
65 people voted in favor. Everybody else voted against it. What a bunch of scumbags, dude.
Yeah.
And those are the people who are running this. They set up these rules. They set up rules for us to march by, but meanwhile, they can inside trade. They can go ahead and do whatever they want. They can avoid whatever vaccinations they want to avoid. They can go wherever they want. And it's just wild, man.
Absolutely.
People get so wrapped up. Like when they say, oh, it's Democrats this and the Republicans this. I'm like, dude, there is no Democrat, but they are all exactly the same. They party behind closed doors with each other. They fight on camera for our benefit, for guys like us who are stupid enough to believe that they actually are on separate teams. They're not. Politics is not a team sport. And I've got way too many dudes I'm friends with who feel like, oh, I don't care as long as this evil atrocity was done, and when our guy's in charge, we're winning. That's a touchdown for us. Sorry, no. It's not them fighting with each other. It's all of them versus all of us. And the sooner people wake up to that, shit, dude, I don't know how we got off on this tangent, but like now I'm getting fired up.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way, two NFL teams, right? You have two teams, they both have their own separate fans and they're all fighting each other in the stands. But guess what? Those football players, they're at the same restaurants after the game. They're at the same bars, they're on vacation together, they're on different teams, but behind closed doors, them guys are out partying, so same thing with politics.
Like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
that's how it should be when it comes to the NFL. Yeah. When it comes to my guy, when people look at you like there's something wrong with you because you're expecting a politician that you voted for to do what he said he was going to do, and then you expect him to do it, and he doesn't do it, and the response is, "Oh, man, all politicians lie." Oh, sorry, that's not good enough. Right. All politicians need to get punched in the face then for lying. You don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I would love to kind of bring this back around. So how does credit repair actually work? So let's say that I'm coming at you and I've just got dog crap credit. I've got, maybe it's a foreclosure, maybe it's a short sale. Because I know that you had said in the past, sometimes these things aren't even real. They're erroneous. But let's say that somebody truly, truly has bad credit. Like I'll say, I had a Dodge Challenger, man, and I had it repossessed, and life sucks right now. What do I do?
There you go. So I'm actually going to stick more to that repossession topic because that is something common, very common on a lot of credit reports that I see every day, Tim. So first thing first, right? Credit repair, there has to be a certain reason why something can be deleted from your credit report. You just can't go out and buy a car, never make your first payment and say, okay, well, I'm going to sign up with Stirgus Credit Repair. I'll be in a new vehicle next month. It does not work like that. If that was the case, Tim, I would be at a Lamborghini dealership right now and getting a Lamborghini for $10,000 down and never making a payment. I will have a free Lambo. So, but anyway, again, there has to be a reason. The main reason why something is deleted because of wrong information reporting to credit reports. If you look at all three credit reports, and still to this day, I don't understand how things are reported incorrectly because things are reported electronically. But hear me out. When we look at all three credit reports, Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, I can almost guarantee I have not seen one credit report that has every single account correctly reported across the board there. So one credit report or one bureau report, is going to have one last payment made date. The next report is going to have a completely separate date that you made your last payment. Then you have a closing date on those accounts. Those are going to be different. Opening dates, the original balance, very important. A lot of times, these creditors do not either report the original balance or they would just report it as an even number. If the original balance was $10,000.50, they just may put 10,000.00 or
Got it.
$10,001 or something like that. It's just a reporting code how they report it. So if there's anything like that, small changes, small inaccurate information reporting, the credit bureaus will delete it. Well, why would the credit bureaus delete it if it's an accurate account or not an accurate account? If it's a legit account, it's because the Fair Credit Reporting Act says so. If there's anything inaccurate, if there's anything incomplete, if there's anything unverified, if the creditor does not respond, it gets deleted. So even if every single thing is accurate, every single thing is there, nothing's missing, nothing's unverifiable, if they simply do not respond to the dispute request, the credit bureaus delete it. So moving
Well, is there a
forward,
source of truth? I gotta,
oh yeah,
just
go
so I
ahead.
don't lose track of
Yeah,
this. So let's say that two credit bureaus report $10,500, and then the third credit bureau reports 10,000. Who's right? Who's wrong? Or just because there's a dispute, all three necessarily have to delete it?
good point there, Tim. And that's actually why the credit repair process is a time consuming process. A lot of people think something is going to be done overnight. So when you're not sure which one is correct, guess what we have to do? We did have to request these documents from the original creditor. As an authorized third party, we are allowed to request those statements, billing contracts, original contracts of those accounts. Those creditors mail those here. We review that, compare that to the credit reports, then we can see which bureau is actually reporting incorrectly. Kind of the same thing with the repossession topic that you're mentioning. So when a vehicle gets repossessed, let's just say if I have a vehicle and I owe 20 grand even on it, just to keep it easy, and it got repossessed, the bank's job, Tim, is to make their money back because me as the consumer, I couldn't afford to keep paying the car note. And they don't just take a $20,000 loss that they still
Right.
have as a balance. They sell that vehicle at auction and they bid on that vehicle. So let's just say a dealership comes in or a rental car company comes in and they're trying to make 20 grand. Clearly, they're not going to make that at auction. They're probably going to make anywhere between 10,000, maybe 12, maybe 15,000. Well, guess what? Legally, I'm responsible, or at least the bank is hoping that I'm responsible to cover that difference. And that difference, Tim, is actually the new balance that is supposed to be reported to my credit report. Guess
Okay.
what happens 98% of the time? 20 grand is still on my credit report as of today. So now we challenge that because I know that is not the correct balance on there. So we have to do two things. Number one, 9 times out of 10, people also have gap insurance, extended warranties, all of these tire and wheel add-ons on there. When a vehicle gets repossessed and the account is closed out, the lender will actually cancel all of those add-ons that's on there because they're compensated for that because that's more money that they get back anyway to kind of recoup from the loss. A lot of times, even if they did go back and update the balance from the auction, Tim, they still did not update the balance from the prorated amount from
Interesting.
gap warranty. So we have to request
Uh,
all of this stuff. We can't just simply just jump up and just see errors on there. No, there's documents that we have to request, and we have to get all of these things to prove what we're actually challenging. Yeah, we may can just send out stuff that's just say, hey, we notice this balance is still 20 grand, but we don't think it's 20 grand. Well, the credit bureaus are going to say, okay, what supporting documents do you have to back this up? The creditor claims everything's correct. So dispute denied. This is going to remain. And that's going to happen, you know? So that's why we have to grab these documents compared to the credit reports, which is time consuming. We may request that stuff. They may say, we receive your request. Please allow us 30 to 45 days to forward this information back to you. We have gotten that several times. And before you know it, it's been 3 months before we can actually get the deletion request that we need for the credit bureaus, and that item gets deleted just because we have proved the case here. Now, if the creditor just simply never responded the first time, or they just simply could not verify that the account belongs to you, or something minor like that, then yeah, the credit bureaus would just delete it right then and there. But actual paper trail work that we have to do can be very time consuming. So
So that's
that's
interesting.
yeah, that's how that will work in that
I-
case.
If you've got three credit bureaus and one of them
Yep.
is reporting, let's say two of them are reporting an accurate number, but the third one is not.
Yep.
Because the third one is not, do all three necessarily then have to eliminate that off of all three credit bureaus, or how does that work?
No, just the two inaccurate ones. So the credit bureaus are all three privately owned companies. And I have to preach this a lot. Just because Equifax deleted something, Experian and TransUnion do not have to agree with that. In fact, you still have to go back and fight with them. So there's many cases to where there's situations to where an item may not get deleted from all three because there is no reason to get it deleted from all three. So again, items are only deleted if it's unverifiable, if there's inaccurate information reporting, and again, if it's not inaccurate, it's not going to get removed. Thirdly, if the item is incomplete, meaning when you look at a credit report, there has to be data listed under every line. So opening date, close date, last activity date, original balance amount, closing balance amount. If the account was charged off, paid in good standings, whatever. If there's situations to where it says NA, or in most cases it would just have a blank or a dash, that is a inaccurate account. Even if every single thing is correct and everything is filled out except one line, the Fair Credit Reporting Act allows you to challenge that and request that item to be deleted because it is incomplete. For those who are watching or listening this, you can go to Google right now and just type in what is needed for a account to be deleted from my credit report, and it will list those four things. Now, some people are going to argue that there are more consumer laws and stuff like that. I don't focus on that stuff. I just focus on the four things that's in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's going to determine if something is going to be deleted or not deleted. And in 90% of the time, there's going to be majority of that stuff that's being reported on there that's affecting you. Majority of that stuff is going to get deleted anyway. But going back to Tim's question here, yeah, if there's two bureaus reporting inaccurately and then the third bureau is 1000% correct, well, sadly, you can't fix all three reports. You can only fix those two reports because at the end of the day, going back to my funny example here about going finance a Lamborghini with the minimum amount down and never paying it again, if things were that easy to where you can automatically get anything removed off of your credit, I would never pay another mortgage payment on my home. I would just,
Right.
let it foreclose and just never care about making payments, or only make payments once every 2 or 3 months so I can just live in the home and not have it affect my credit if it was truly that easy. So yeah, that will answer that.
So I think what I'm trying to understand here is if so let's say that you have a disputed charge. Let's say somebody some guy came to build a fence at your house or something, or
Yeah.
whatever, and they did half the job, but and you fired them from the job because the half that they built looked like crap.
Hmm.
And you said, forget it. I don't have any faith. And they're going to say, no, you signed a contract. We are out here. We do. So now you're disputing. Now they charge you. They create a delinquent bill to your credit report.
Hmm.
Um, you know, does the do the credit bureaus naturally or tend to take the side of the creditor, or do they listen to the consumer?
Well, that's a hard situation, Tim, because two things with this. So if there's a consumer dispute there, that's more related to the consumer and the bank disputing a charge. Now, that alone won't affect anything with their credit reports because that wouldn't be reported to their credit reports. Now, let's just say you, Tim, you hired a company, a contractor to do some work around your home, and you're like, this is crap. I'm not paying this, and they still bill it to your credit card. Now, right
They
here at
send
this
you to
time,
collections.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right here at this time, it has nothing to do with credit. But if your if your bank is like, nah, Tim, we didn't win this dispute here, you have to pay it. So in your mindset, you're like, yeah, screw this, I'm not paying that. Now it goes to collections. Now this is a different situation here. So I want to say it's more. This would honestly, this is actually going to be more in the consumer favor at this point because it's going to be one of those unverifiable cases there at that point, Tim. It's still going to be complicated because you truly can't just jump up and say, oh, I didn't approve this, because if this company or this contractor got the contract you signed, there's really no proof of you not being pleased with the job, right? There's no proof of that. So what there is proof of, you signing this contract and agreeing to pay. So initially, it is going to cause some conflict. The credit bureaus may not eventually agree with that, Tim. But as you continue to fight and kind of prove the situation, and you have your paper trail of you attempting to dispute this with your bank right there, 90% of the time, Tim, you're going to win that war with the credit bureaus. But you have to have all of your evidence in line. You can't just say, oh, this collection that's on my credit, yeah, I don't remember accepting that. I want to dispute this. Well, the credit bureaus are going to be like,
Yeah.
okay, you didn't try to do this with your bank at first. This item doesn't get charged off until it's been like 4 or 5 months. So you mean to tell me in 4 or 5 months without this reporting to your credit, you haven't done anything to fight this or taken any action on this? This don't sound too right. But now apparently you're trying to use your credit to buy a car or use your credit to buy a home. Now you want to dispute some of this stuff and you want to challenge some of these items. So that's kind of how the credit bureaus dispute department work in cases like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I've got a 19-year-old daughter in college right now, and actually I was messaging you on this
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
day. So I got to figure out how to get a I got to buy one of your books for her, but I want you to figure out
Yeah.
how to autograph it.
Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, I
You
can
got to
do
you got to sign it
it.
before you get it to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because I want her to start learning this stuff at a young age, and I don't know as much about this as I should.
Yeah.
And it's like such a valuable skill to understand. So it, do people get involved with Sturgis before there's a problem? Like, do you have like, how does one start the process of even working with you? What does that look like? I mean, if you care to talk about,
Yeah.
how you guys set up your fee structure, does it depend on the complexity of the case, or is it,
Hmm.
I'd love to hear how the whole thing works.
So, as operating a credit repair firm or a credit repair organization, there's actually two things that regulates the credit repair organization or the credit repair industry to eliminate scams, to eliminate these knuckleheads that's all on social media these days, claiming
Oh,
they're in the credit repair industry that I expose all the
I
time, which
love
is
those. Those are
actually,
my favorite. I just
yeah,
laugh.
yeah.
Some
I
of
mean,
those
they're
voicemails you've gotten. Oh,
yeah.
so
So
good.
there's two things. We have the Credit Repair Organizations Act. A few key points in that act states you can legally not charge money upfront for services. So you see this a lot during tax season time when people sadly are getting a lot of money and they're in a rush to do things, they're car shopping. These people are the number one target to scam. Okay. They know they just got money, and these people online, they are trying to rob you. Anytime you see a misleading ad that states I can sweep your credit, that's the term that they use, sweep.
Sweet. Okay.
No one, and I mean absolutely no one in the credit repair industry that is a professional like me will use the word sweep. Okay.
Mm,
When they say credit sweep, they're already a scam. What their term is, they're claiming they can sweep everything off of your credit in 7 days or 14 days or even 30
yeah.
days. Clearly, that does not work.
Right.
So, a lot of these people are charging $1,200, $1,500. I had one lady call and say, yeah, some other guy on TikTok, his package is $5,000. And I'm like, how are you talking? How did you find these people? Like, how are you even calling? The stuff on your credit isn't even $5,000. What are we doing here? And it's just, I used to feel sorry. I really did used to feel sorry for the consumers that fell for this, but it got to the point. I'm like, look, some of y'all are doing this to y'all selves. But getting back on topic here, Tim, you cannot legally charge upfront fees before you begin services. You cannot start services unless they sign your agreement or authorization form.
Okay.
You must offer a free cancellation anytime. If a consumer wish to cancel the second they sign up, they're granted a free cancellation anytime. In fact, if you do have some type of weird fee structure, they're able to legally cancel within 3 days, even if you charge them the first day, but they signed up for free and then you charge them after you process everything. That's legally can be done. But if they cancel within 3 days, if you do wish to do that, you do have to refund that client. What else it states? No fake promises. You can't go out and make billboards and pay for Google ads and social media ads stating that whatever you have on your credit, we can fix it. I'm pretty sure most attorneys have these same laws because a attorney cannot promise or guarantee to win someone's case. They cannot get someone out of jail. They cannot win a random lawsuit and make all of these misleading marketing ads because it's up to the court, it's up to the prosecutor, it's up to the district attorney to actually process sentences and stuff like that. It's up to the judge. So same thing with credit repair. You cannot go out and say, hey, if you have 50 repossessions on your credit, sign up with Sturgis Credit Repair because we can get it removed within 7 days. You can't do
Right.
that. Right.
Yeah.
There has to be reasons why something gets deleted. So those are some of the main rules and laws that regulate us in the credit repair industry. So with Sturgis Credit Repair, we actually offer a free trial for all clients, which that shocks a lot of people because a lot of people see all of these scams online, and when they call or maybe when they go to Sturgis Credit Repair and they're signing up and they're filling in everything, some people finish their enrollment and then they call and say, hey, I signed up, I'm a client now, but it looks like I don't pay anything right now or this month. I'm like, you don't. We offer a free trial. And look, Tim, if you sign up right now, we process everything. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to do this. You go in, you cancel your account. Even if 5 things gotten deleted that first round, you don't owe a dime. You know, we
Wow.
truly offer a first month free trial. So that's how much it goes as far as signing up for the service. Now, if someone wishes to continue our service, we only offer a simple $100 subscription. And that pretty much takes care of the phone calls that we have to have with people
That's
talking on the
amazing.
phone
That's
for
amazing you
40
could afford
minutes.
to operate that way.
Yeah,
$100 a
yeah.
month. Wow,
Yeah,
man.
it's been that way since day one, Tim. The average credit repair company now are charging anywhere between 120 and 150. I focus more on a volume way of growing the business. So I
Yep.
focus more on people trying to get in, not having to pay anything up front and a very, very low cost. You can't go to a restaurant in 1 hour for less than $100 these days. In fact,
Right.
my wife and I went to a Mexican restaurant last night, not even fine dining. And man, all we got was a chips and queso salsa trio appetizer. She got a small margarita, I got a medium margarita, and then we both got our entrees. It was $88 plus tip. It was like 115 after everything. And I'm like,
Hey, man,
bro,
how's that golden age treating you? How's that cost of living going down treating you?
yeah,
It's
yeah. And
insane.
I'm like,
Absolutely insane.
bro, we were only here for 35 minutes and $115 gone. And look, our monthly service is only $100. So, you know, some people can argue, oh, $100, I don't got that to spend. I'm like, yeah, you do. But anyway, our service is very low cost, Tim. I mean, like I said, it costs what you spend in a restaurant in 30 minutes. And like I said, it's no guarantee of how long you need to stay enrolled, or you know, you can't cancel within a certain time. You can cancel whenever you want to, but signing up, all you do is go to sturgiscreditrepair.com. You submit your information. It takes 2 minutes to sign up and you start your free trial. If there are situations to where things are going a little not in a favorable spot, or maybe we
Yep.
need more support and details, we would have those consultations with clients. But yeah, Tim, that $100, it covers
It's amazing.
receiving all of the documents, sending the documents. We go through at least, and I just posted this on my social media pages. You've probably seen this as well. I mean, we get buckets and buckets of containers of responses and results every single day from the credit bureaus, from the creditors, all of these documents and paperwork we have to get. That alone is time consuming, just opening all of that crap. And then these phone consultations, man, they're like 40 minutes long. And then
Yep.
I hate to say this about some clients, which I'm not talking bad on anyone, but Tim, I get some clients and I preach this every single day. I'm like, hey, look, once you sign up, it takes 30 days for them to process this. Your credit report only updates once a month because you pay your bills once a month. If I just processed everything yesterday, there's nothing for me to look at or tell you 2 days from now. So
Correct. Yeah.
your stuff is still being shipped in the mail. Like they haven't even gotten your paperwork yet. And I get customers call every 2 days. Hey, what's my update? Hey, what's my update? Hey, my credit score didn't change since I just signed up yesterday. What's going on? Is everything okay? Can I be helped? So for $100, and some customers do all of that, I'm like, man, I consider increasing pricing a little bit just to kind of weed out some of this. But
just on that guy, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very low cost. Now going back to your original question before that about the sign up process, do we help people that necessarily don't need credit repair today and may need a earlier on credit monitoring or anything like that? So our service of credit repair wouldn't really market to people who don't need credit repair, but for people who are really interested of what's on their credit and maybe monitoring their credit, on their website sturgiscreditrepair.com, if you click the credit building products page and scroll to the bottom, you can actually sign up for the free trial of our in-house credit monitoring service that pretty much links your account to our software, and it pretty much would give you a notification every month if something's added to your credit, or a notification if your scores drop, or pretty much anything like that. And then we can schedule those consultations. But as far as the $100 a month thing, no, you don't have to enroll in that if you don't need credit repair. But yeah, Tim, that's mostly everything and how everything goes on at Sturgis Credit Repair.
Yeah, that is incredible. I know that we're actually approaching the end of our time together. So one thing I do want to give people is a way to get in touch with you. If you're somebody out there who's kind of, if this is like a mystery to you as it was to me, if you find yourself with things, your credit score isn't as high as you were hoping it would be, or you thought it should be, you want somebody to lay another set of eyes on it to say, hey, yeah, you're right. This is absolutely not right. And you want somebody in your corner that's already went through this process thousands of times and helped people. I can't say enough good things about Chris Sturgis and his. I mean, I've seen the stories. I've seen the people thanking him on several occasions on his Instagram. I've seen him exposing the scams out there. So it's just good. I'm a big believer in working with good people, and I think you're good people. And so I'd love to, how can people learn more about you? How do they get in touch with you? Let's talk them through that before we part ways here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim. So the easiest way to get in contact with me directly or Sturgis Credit Repair is as easy as searching Sturgis Credit Repair anywhere online. If you go to Google and search sturgiscreditrepair.com, right there, you can go to our website. And the way that I've grown over the last few years, just to kind of shortly go over this real quick, is making everything so easy for consumers online. Me personally, every utility bill that I have, Tim, I have my online portal. I can go to pay my bill. Just things as simple as ordering things online through Amazon. 90% of the stuff in my home is shipped to me by buying it online on Amazon. That saves me time from going to a store. So same thing with credit repair. I have built the Sturgis Credit Repair website to where people can get answers within seconds. If they go to our FAQ page, pricing plan, how long they need to be enrolled, what do we work on, who's our ideal client, what's the laws we must follow, can we pay upfront without the free trial? It would literally tell you why we can't accept money upfront. So I built this to where people do not have to waste time calling. There's a lot of companies out there. You have to call just to get that pricing. You have to sit on hold for 10 minutes before you can get in contact with someone. So everything is available online at sturgiscreditrepair.com. You can submit your information to sign up within 2 minutes and be a client as easy as that. You can fill out the contact form. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to Sturgis Credit Repair on Facebook, Instagram. If you have any questions, you can email us info@sturgiscreditrepair.com. even if some of our realtors or loan officers who are listening or watching this episode, if you wish to partner, maybe you have questions to how you can help your clients. If you don't want to partner with anyone, give me a call directly, 225-243-9700. At the greeting, if you press number 1 or 0, the call will actually be forwarded directly to me every single time. And that's actually all methods to get in contact with me, Tim.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And ladies, he is a married man, so he gave his phone number out there. Don't take advantage of
it. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, it's always so great connecting with you, man. I always learn a ton, and I love your energy, and I'm just so impressed with the origin story. I didn't realize that. So golly, I wish more people could take what you did and learn from it.
Because, for sure.
Wow, just outstanding. So Chris, we're going to check out your book. It pays to have good credit.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to. I know my daughter's going to read that thing cover to cover, as I will too. And folks, again, you've got Chris's contact info. You know me. I'm Tim the FSBO guy. FoolProofFSBO.com. If I can ever help you with anything, you know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for watching today. We will see you next week on Friday, as we do every Friday at noon Eastern for another live stream. So until then, we'll see you next time. And Chris, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.